Do you ever feel like you have everything in your hands, from your job to your relationships to your future? You think if you control it well enough, everything will be fine? I used to be like that too. I used to think, as long as I'm careful enough, try hard enough, nothing will go wrong. But then I realized, the more I tried to control everything, the more exhausted I became, and everything just kept getting messed up. So where does the real problem lie? Humans have an instinctive need for control. That's true. It comes from a need to survive. When we were living in the wild, controlling our surroundings meant survival. But in modern times, we no longer face wild animals or natural disasters like we used to. We face people, emotions, expectations, deadlines, news, social media, and an uncertain future. We want to control everything. Our work schedule must be perfect. Our partner must not change his or her feelings. Our project must succeed. Our future must go according to plan. We think that the more control we have, the safer we are. But did you know? It's that desire for control that's the source of stress, anxiety, and frustration. Because life does not follow anyone's plan. A friend of mine used to be a super detailed manager, always planning every hour, controlling personnel, and making contingency plans. But then just one small incident, a partner canceled the contract at the last minute, made him collapse. Why? Because he forgot one very important thing. Not everything is within our control. Philosopher Epictetus once said, "There are two things in life: what is within our control, and what is not." Here's the biggest mistake we make: trying to control things that were never ours to begin with. And that creates a vicious cycle. The more we control, the more we worry. The more we worry, the more frustrated we become. The more frustrated we become, the more we try to control. It's like trying to grasp water in your hand. The more you squeeze, the more it slips away. So what is the solution? Maybe it's time we learn to let go of things that don't belong to us, so we can hold on tighter to what's truly important. Greetings from the Stoic Enlightenment Era channel. If you are seeing this video today, it may not be a coincidence. It is a sign that you are ready to receive messages for the awakening soul. Among the countless videos that come out every day, not everyone stops here. But if you are watching, I believe your energy is connected to something deep, and that is what brought you to this right place, at this right time. This video is not just a sharing. This is a real journey that I have been through, with experiences, challenges, and inner awakenings. What you are about to hear is not from a book, nor is it a theory from the internet, but is the crystallization of life lessons. I know, what I am about to share is not easy to listen to, because it is not for the majority. It is not meant to entertain, but to enlighten. And only when you are truly quiet, ready to listen, will you feel the deep value within. So, take your time with this video. Don't miss it, because sometimes, just one small idea can change your entire journey. I can't promise that your life will change overnight, but if you practice what's coming, in just a few months you'll find yourself feeling more grounded, more clear-headed, and not the same person you used to be. If you feel the connection, please like to let me know you're on board, and subscribe to the channel to continue receiving profound values. Welcome to the space of understanding and transformation. Take a deep breath, and let's get started. Do you ever feel like you always have to keep everything under control? Schedules must be precise to the minute. Plans must be perfect. Relationships must be stable. And if something unexpected happens, you start to feel frustrated, anxious, even disoriented. I used to be like that. I used to think, if I don't control everything, everything will fall apart. But then I realized, the more I try to hold on, the more things slip away from my grasp. And that's when I began to understand, control, sometimes it's just an illusion. The world does not stand still for you to control. Other people's emotions don't work the way you want them to. Future results cannot be guaranteed just because you think about it too much. We can plan, but we cannot force life to follow that plan. And when things go wrong, we start reacting. We get anxious. We get angry. We lose sleep. I have a friend, very talented, very successful, but he is always stressed. He tries to control every detail of his work and personal life. But the more he tries, the more rigid, irritable, and even exhausted he becomes. Why is that? Because trying to control the uncontrollable is the shortest path to frustration. When you set expectations that everything has to be the way I want it, you sign a contract with vulnerability. Because life doesn't work the way you imagine. And sometimes, what you think is outer control actually reflects something very deep inside. You are losing control of yourself. You can't control your anxiety, so you want to control others to feel secure. You don't have control over your expectations, so you try to force every situation into a safe mold. You can't control your fear, so you cover it up with a veneer of proactivity. But you know what? The only way to truly be in control, not by controlling the world, is to understand your limits and focus on them. Master yourself first. I'm not saying you should give up. I'm saying, stop trying to control what doesn't belong to you. Instead, learn to master your own emotions, reactions, and thoughts, because that is true power and the foundation for inner freedom. Sometimes, what wears us down isn't what happens in life, it's how we hold on, resist, and fight against it. Have you ever asked yourself, how much time do I spend in my life worrying about things I can't change? Actually, letting go is not weakness. Letting go does not mean surrendering or giving up responsibility. On the contrary, letting go is a powerful act. It's how you refuse to waste energy on things that are beyond your control. It is how you choose to maintain inner peace in a turbulent world. I remember once being rejected from a job opportunity that I had high hopes for. For days afterward, I agonized, blamed myself, and imagined hundreds of what-if scenarios. But then, I realized, no matter how I thought, that decision wouldn't change. And I was spending all my mental and emotional energy on something that had happened, and was no longer in my hands. At that moment, I learned one thing. Letting go is the first step to regaining inner freedom. And that is what the Stoic philosophers emphasized thousands of years ago. Marcus Aurelius, emperor and philosopher, wrote in his diary every night to remind himself, "What can I do? What must I leave alone?" Seneca said something that I will never forget. Nothing is more out of control than a mind that tries to control everything. And Epictetus, who lived his whole life as a slave, but was more free thinking than anyone, said it clearly. If it's not yours, let it go. Profound, isn't it? Because when you stop trying to control the outcome, stop clinging to something having to happen the way you want it to, the emotions begin to subside. You will feel lighter and clearer. Not because things get better, but because you're no longer tied to them. Letting go is a skill. And like any skill, it takes practice. Every time you choose not to react, not to cling, not to try one more time with something beyond your control, you are one step closer to true freedom. How many times have you found yourself stressed out just because things didn't go the way you wanted? An email was not responded to. A person does not behave as you expect. A plan is delayed, or worse, completely ruined. And you start to lose control. Mind is disturbed. Emotions are chaotic. Reactions become negative. I used to be there, many times. Until I learned a simple, yet incredibly powerful question from Stoic philosophy. Is this within my control? That question changed the way I looked at everything. You see, in any situation, there are always two clear zones. One is the zone of control, where you have complete control over your behavior, your reactions, the words you say, how you think, what time you spend on what, the energy you choose to cultivate. The second is the uncontrollable zone, outcomes. What other people think, how other people react, what has happened, and the future that has yet to come. The problem is, most of us spend too much time worrying about what we can't control, and too little energy actually investing in what we can completely control. Changing this mindset is not easy, but if you commit to practicing it every day, it will become a new reflex. I started with something very simple. Whenever I was faced with any uncomfortable situation, I paused. I did not react immediately. I took a deep breath. I asked myself, can I control this? If yes, I act. If no, I let go and shift my focus to myself. This is an important technique in Stoicism philosophy, called pause before reaction. Before you speak, before you act, pause. Observe your mind. Identify your emotions. Then choose a rational action. You will be surprised to see how much trouble you can avoid in life by just pausing for a few seconds before reacting. There are always things in life that are beyond your control. But there are also many things that are within your control. And only when you can distinguish that, can you truly embark on a journey of living consciously and taking control of your life. There is a simple yet profound truth that the Stoics repeated over and over again. The outside world is not something you can control, but the inside world, yes. We often think of control as the ability to manipulate circumstances, dominate others, and change outcomes. But real control starts within yourself. From how you react, from the thoughts you harbor, from the values you choose to hold on to, no matter what is happening out there. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Our mind is the only kingdom that no one can invade unless we allow it." That sentence woke me up, because when you don't control yourself, you will always be led by circumstances, emotions, and other people. One negative comment can ruin your whole day. A cold look can confuse you. A small failure can make you doubt your self-worth. But if you really master yourself, you won't be swayed so easily anymore. You no longer live by the way of what others say, I'll be happy or sad accordingly, but live by inner principles. Stoics choose to live by principle. They do not live to please others. They don't act for applause. They do not yield to wrong, nor do they need to scream to defend what is right. They choose to live rationally and act on the values they believe are right, regardless of the outcome. I know this isn't easy. There are voices all around us from society, social media, family, friends, and sometimes even from within ourselves. But remember, true power comes from not needing to control others, because you control yourself. You can lose your reputation. You can lose your money. You can lose your job, even someone's love. But if you keep your clarity, your peace, your self-control in your mind, then no one can take away the real you inside. And that is the most solid foundation for you to walk firmly in the flow of life, not being swept away, not being manipulated, not being broken every time the world changes direction. Ask yourself, am I living by reaction or by principle? Am I being controlled, or am I in control of my own life? There are moments in life that make us feel uncertain, not because they are too big, but because we don't know whether to let go or continue to hold on. I want to ask you, how many times have you felt hurt because someone didn't treat you the way you expected? How many times have you tried to change someone, only to find out they are still the same person? In moments like these, we often choose control, hoping that if we say one more word, do one more action, things will change. But you know what? The truth is, there are things that are not ours to do, and the only thing we can do is change how we react to them. When someone doesn't love you the way you love them, when someone betrays, turns cold, or simply stops being there, remember, you can't control other people's hearts, but you can choose to keep your heart from turning to stone. Letting go does not mean forgetting. Letting go is refusing to let yourself get caught up in someone else's negative cycle. It's giving yourself the chance to heal, instead of trying to change the impossible. Second situation. When you do your best, but the results are not as expected. You plan, work hard, make sacrifices, but things still go wrong. This is where you need to remember one thing. You can control the effort, but not the results. Life is full of variables beyond our control: weather, markets, other people's emotions, the flow of luck. So, instead of judging yourself by results, judge yourself by the extent to which you have lived fully. Finally, perhaps most painful of all, is when you face loss. A loved one passes away. A relationship breaks up. Something you once loved is no longer there. I once lost someone very close to me in a sudden accident. And I learned one thing. This life is temporary. Everything is borrowed, from the breath to the people around you. The more you hold on, the more it hurts. Only when you learn how to relax your hands and open your heart, you are truly healed. And that is the art of living of a steadfast person, one who understands that. I'm not here to keep things. I came here to live, to love, to experience, and to let go when the time is right. If you've made it this far in the video, I would like to invite you to pause for a moment and honestly ask yourself, is there anything in your life you are trying to control too much? Is there something that is weighing you down, simply because you haven't learned to let go? We often make the mistake of thinking that letting go is a sign of failure, or that not being in control is weakness. But the truth is quite the opposite. A strong person is not the one who keeps everything, but the one who knows the right things. The wise man is not he who masters everything, but he who knows what is worth spending his mental energy on. A person who knows how to limit their control, not because they give up, but because they understand. Energy and peace only exist when you know how to put it in the right place. You don't have to react to every word. No need to argue to win. No need to hold on to something that is time to let go. Because letting go is not a temporary emotion. Letting go is a skill. And every skill takes practice, through time, through failure, and through the times you think you can't do it. I still remember the first time I learned to let go of a relationship that I loved so much. It wasn't one sleepless night, but months of fighting with myself. But only when I had the courage to let go, did I find myself truly free. Not because I forget, but because I am no longer bound by things I cannot control. Stoic philosophy has a very nice image. You can't control the wave, but you can learn to surf it. And that is the choice of the awakened one. Neither resist life nor passively give up, but live flexibly, calmly and steadfastly with yourself. True freedom doesn't come from having everything in your life perfect. It comes from inner peace, from stopping letting the outside world define who you are on the inside. So, if you're looking for something to change your life, don't start by taking more control. Start by letting go, and from there, you will find yourself lighter, stronger, and freer than ever. Whatever the reason, I want you to know one thing. You are not going alone. At the channel Stoic Enlightenment Era, we do not just share knowledge. We build a space where you can stop, listen, heal and grow. If what you just heard made you feel clearer, lighter, or simply like someone understands you, then I want to invite you to subscribe to the channel right now. Not to increase the number, but so that you always have a place to return to whenever your mind is confused. Whenever life loses direction, each week, I'll share with you practical, insightful, inspiring messages from Stoic philosophy, things I've experienced, absorbed, and changed my own life. And I want to hear from you too. Please leave a comment below. What in this video made you think the most? Is there something you are trying to control that you need to let go of? Don't hesitate to share, because sometimes your story will be the light for others. Please hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and share this video with your loved ones. Who knows, you might be sending them a gift, a door, a timely reminder. Thank you for being there. Always remember, you are strong enough to let go, and you deserve to be free.